Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have another repair. This is for a customer in Colorado. His name is Matt Rader. He sent me this instrument cluster. It's from a 1995 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 5.7. The concern was the temperature gauge not working. As you can see, I have everything ready connected, and now this is a test actually after repairs. These uses a special motor with a resistor on the back, you can see here, and they are filled with like a special silicone. When that, um, I don't know, it gets damaged inside, the gauge stop working or reads inaccurately. These needles. Let me power this off so we can see this. You see how they drop? Well, it's because I don't have the actual phase that goes in there, because that will stop the gauges from going down when you power off your cluster. If it, obviously, I'm taking battery and everything away from here, so this is not a normal, let's say, behavior, because you will have the actual, again, that gauge in here. I want to show you a little bit of connections. Not much to see. Um, Very simple. This has a connector on the side right here that has 16 pins per row. They name that C is, as I have a mark in there, C1 to C6 to C16, and then D1 to D16. Obviously, because I don't have the card in here. And these are the pinouts, signals that I'm providing, grounds and powers, as you can read in there. You can find it there. I think it's like 2 grounds and 3 powers, and then I'm using for this one the fuel gauge signal and the coolant temperature signals. The rest he has no concerns. I want to just check. I did took a lot of pictures of this ensemble. I have also found in ProDemand this very good information that tells me that to calibrate the gauge you should put 1400 ohms. That should be completely cold, and then 55 ohms completely warm. I did my search and I put that in here, so I got everything in one central location. The fuel gauge is low 10 ohms and full 90 ohms, so you can use that for your testing if you have to do a test like the one I'm doing on the vehicle. This is the way the cluster looked before. Oops. That is the back of the cluster. Now this assembled, this has a plastic cover in there to protect all these bulbs and connections, and the stepper motor for the actual meter or mileage counter. That is the board where the magic happens and all the bulbs are connected. That is easy to separate because all the stepper motors are just fit through. So it's like what they call like a through hole connection. And this is where the actual motors are. So we got um, temperature and oil. Let me just read now. Temperature and fuel level. Then we have the speedometer, tachometer, and then oil pressure and battery voltage. And this is again the counters of the uh, miles. And then if you want to reset the one that you can reset like this one right here, right? What else? This is just close pictures I took. I would like to take a little farther and then a closer one for my record so I can revisit in case I get to work in another one of this. They're very old, like that I save all these components, numbers, and everything. It's still possible to get. I was able to get the gauge, and this me doing tests through the board. This is again doing my test to make sure that I'm indeed having a bit speed, a stepper motor, and I did. So that's pretty much all I have in there. Just the rest is just performance tests of the same ohm resistance in between each of the legs of every motor, saving the values for myself. Um, this is also, let me just see if I have the color wire diagram. I do. So this is nice about Protoman and very unique to them. For this vehicle, I was not able to find an original diagram, so it's again very old. But in Protoman, you can, select the wiring on the color wire diagrams. But the next thing that I like to about, Protoman color wire diagrams is these hyperlinks. Let's say if I check, let me just see, let's see instrument cluster, if it does brings to something, tapes remove and replace, suffixes, no, that's not the one. Engine coolant temperature gauge sensor, guided component testing. Again, we have the wiring. This is not really the wiring in there. Let me see. This is the coolant temperature sensor. I'm just scrolling down a little fast to see what is in here. But yeah, what I like about these guided component testing, these diagrams, that they has these hyperlinks. I did remember seeing something about. Let me click in here in the instrument cluster again. Repair fixes, technical service bulletins, cluster elimination. No, I remember seeing something that got me that information that I have in there, like the one I have open. And probably I just closed it, so let me reopen it 1 second. Because yeah, this is OEM testing has a little um, hard sometimes with the proto-man information is it doesn't give you like the steps of what you're following. Like, when you're opening like guiding component test, selecting, let's say coolant temperature gauge or whatever. But we can also do the search. So let me see if that is exactly what I did because I want to share that and so you can see that I thought it was in the wire diagram. Sometimes in the wire diagrams, it has actually like when you click in here, it has a selection for like the coolant temperature gauge and that opens OEM testing in there, but it's not in here. So I guess what I did is just a search. Let me just put colon. All right, coolant temperature gauge, and then we got guiding component test and OEM test procedures right here. That's how I found it. So yeah, just this did a search and that's what I found. That information. You can do the same for the oil level, oil level or oil pressure, and the same for the fuel gauge. And you will find this information. I could not find this in Identifix. So sometimes, like I said, it's good to have different sources of information, especially in my case that I have to work in many different brands, and I hope that people understand that it's not that I have your car here waiting or a car like yours to connect this and test it. So this is very time consuming and very difficult to do too. All right, so let me um, bring this down. So right now I am putting 55 ohms through, ground and then over to the signal or the temperature gauge. That should be all the way full temperature. And it is, as you can see. All right, so I'm going to now provide 1400 um, ohms, and this should go to 0, and we can see that happening. All right, so that one is working 100%. I'm going to move now, so we can see the same test onto the fuel level, which is right now pick up, but it's just these gauges are made differently. So I'm going to put now this into 10 ohms. That should be, if I remember, cold. And sorry, not cold, empty. And we can see how that gauge is now going into all the way to the bottom. All right, so that is working perfectly. And now I'm going to put them into 90, which should be completely full. And that is slowly going up. This is just the way that gauge operates. And yeah, this is how you do your test. If you want to find out, do you have a problem in your gauge or you have a problem in your vehicle, you can use this same testing. Um, there is a lot of tools out there, like I think AS Wave has a nice terminal kit that you have a way to jump this, so you can, and you remove a connector from the instrument cluster, and now you're just going to jump the powers and the grounds as I show you here, right? So as you can see, I have one, two, three, all the reds are power, so we got three powers, two grounds, and then the two signals that I'm checking. So you can just use the male and the female from that kit that AS Wave have. I'm going to look for a picture and then probably attach it to this video so you can have it. If you're a technician and you're doing this test too, then you can just, again, by removing the vehicle signals from the cluster, all you need is ignition on, right? You're going to set up the jumpers in between. So you're going to go into the pins. These are round pins. So you're going to have a female pin going into the connector on the instrument cluster, and then a male pin onto the connector that you just unplug. You're just going to leave these two signals out, or whatever signal you're checking, right? And then you're just going to use a decay box. If you're testing the RPMs and the um, speedometer, I would probably recommend to use your oscilloscope first to try to collect that data to provide the same signal, and then you can inject it with like an arbitrary signal wave generator, and or another tool that is very handy for this is this tool, the AutoSym Pro. You can find this in AS Wave. It's a very good small tool that you can plug into the vehicle, and you can generate cam and crank sensor signals, square wave signals, sawtooth, and all different signals that you can provide, and then try to reproduce and then see. Because while you had a signal, like let's say, I know the RPM, not the RPM, the gauge speedometer. If we go over to, let me see, Identifix. Was it Identifix? Um, Let me just look for 1 second. I think I have it open in both. Yes. Bookmarks. Instrument cluster diagram 1. I'm pretty sure it says like a minus, like 4,000 count for um, the speedometer. I don't remember what is that I saw that. Oh, now I remember. It's actually in the pinouts. Is it? Power signal, one signal. Hmm. I am pretty sure I saw it somewhere. I thought it was here too, and it's not. Color wire diagrams, gauge accuracy. Hmm. Don't remember, but again, all you need to do is use your oscilloscope, see what the signal is, and try to reproduce it to calibrate or test your components then after. And that's what I do. You can perform resets again in your vehicle by just providing the signal. So if you provide a signal that you have to acquire with a known good, and then now you know that what you're providing is good. If you suspect that you have a broken in the wire, you can just again remove the entire vehicle from the instrument cluster and then just provide your signals, and that's it, right? So the same thing that I'm doing in here. All right, Matt, this is your instrument cluster now fully working. I will be contacting you shortly. Send the link for payment and send this your way as soon as possible. I hope that you guys like the content. Again, sometimes I take my time. I'm a little slow talking, trying to make myself more understandable. But I hope that you guys like the content. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye bye.